So everyone, welcome to Out of Context exhibition here at WAF Miami 2025. We are starting the first roundtable discussion. We have three participants right here, but before, let me say maybe one word about the exhibition. We have 7 projects here from 7 different countries, from Armenia, Bangladesh, China, Finland, Poland, Switzerland, and Vietnam. And right now we have 3 of our participants in the first round table discussion. We have Yuval Baer from Baer Architecture and Urban Design from Jerusalem, Israel, with his project Museum of Architecture and Design in Helsinki, Finland, which was a major international competition last year. And we have Nguyễn, who is on Duong from Hue City, from central Vietnam, with a very small but beautiful project, Sahi Homestay Retreat in Hue City. This is a family-run tourist retreat set on a landscaped urban site with lily pads. And we have over Zoom, on Zoom we have Mohammad Foyez Ullah, he's in Dhaka, Bangladesh. He's representing his company. He's the founder of WAF Limited in Dhaka. And the project is a railway station in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. It's a project that was completed a couple of years ago in 2023. And let me ask the first question. Well, the whole idea was to put very different projects in this exhibition. I actually wanted to celebrate kind of misalignment and very personal views of architecture and how to do architecture, but nevertheless, we have to discuss these projects right now, and we have to find some kind of common ground. And so I would like to start with the question of authenticity, cultural relevance, climatic concerns of a specific place. And this, again, 3 very different projects, very personal projects, different attitudes. But I want you to start with touching on how your projects relate to their respective sites. How did you address specifically the site? What was, first impulse, how to start the project? What was the physical connection, cultural connection, climatic connection? I know that Yuval, your project is a competition entry. In fact, it's the only project that was not realized among the projects that we are discussing. But nevertheless, we are talk about this. We are in Helsinki. This is South Harbor. What were your ideas about how to connect your project to the site, to the culture of Finland, and to, I guess, the brief of the competition?
So actually, I want to say that, Vladimir, when you approached me with this topic out of context, immediately I thought, I have something to show you. And we all know that the way we were educated and brought up, as you always, it's like you really need to address the context. You really, if you want your project to be successful, you really need to address the context. You really need to be sensitive to where you're building and create a dialogue with the context. But I think that something in our culture today is always out of context. It's always out of context. I mean, we always face this issue. We come to a place and there is a conflict. And I think the rise of individualism in the past, I would say half a decade, really accentuated the fact that there's always, and there's it's probably an older problem. It's like since the Industrial Revolution, but there is an opposition between what the man-made architecture is doing and what we're doing to the nature, what we're doing to the environment, and the conflict is getting greater and greater. And we try to pretend that we're like sort of negotiating with the environment, but we always fail in a way. And we live in a very conflictual world. And I should actually mention I had a very influential teacher in the past, Raymond Abraham. Some people still remember him from the 80s.
Yeah, he was my professor at Cooper Union as well.
Yeah. And he told us every project is almost, he said, he used that word, it's like a rape. You're like damaging what was, damaging the reality, and then actually putting the project together is mending this like crime scene, you know? That's how we used to talk. And it's like, that's how I think many of us, that design in complex historical areas always feel. And that's what I felt when I came to Helsinki. You know, there's a 19th century city. Then there is a port that was sort of doesn't really relate to the city. A lot of like service trucks, all kinds of like junk. And then we have a very strange lot that doesn't refer to any of the urban planning of the old city. And then you make a building. And the first thing I felt is that you can't, it's out of context. It's out of context. And then I wanted to design something that actually is not a monument. It's like something that is just like absorbs
what's around it.
Absorbs what's around it and like sort of projects it out again to the city in that kind of a dialogue. So it's almost like that was the intent. I mean,
And we will talk more in detail about the design process, but I want to bring Dawn into the conversation. So you had a very different project in the city where, which you know very well. This is the city where you grew up. So if you could talk about the context, how you started the project, what was important, cultural relevance, climatic conditions, how did you start, and what do you think was important?
So, Foyez city is a tourist city in the middle of Vietnam, and the client would like to build projects as a homestay. And when the clients or the tourists come to the hotel, it's different when they choose kind of the project like the homestays, because the homestay is where you can have the more connection with the people. So we'd like to make something that is suitable with the site, and we are enhancing the relationship between the people, the tourists, with the surrounding nature, and the tourists, the people themselves.
Okay, and we'll talk more about how specifically you addressed all of these local issues. And now, Foyez. So let's talk about your project, the railway station. Tell us if there was much of a context. I understand it's a completely new piece of infrastructure that totally transformed the entire region. What can you tell us about the cultural, physical, climatic relevance, and how did you address the issue of context, how to address the context in your case?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be in this roundtable, and I wish I could be here with you in Miami, but unfortunately, I couldn't manage time due to some pre-commitments. The world. This festival is such a significant event, but not for scale. I feel I'm missing the chance to experience seeing you all here. So to say something about my project, maybe I'll be very brief. And I also discussed it with Vladimir before in other occasions, that when we were invited to design this project at railway station, we were actually invited to design this, and there was no competition for this. For us, there was no precedent in railway architecture, except, there was an international architect, Robert Bui, who designed a station, which is our main station in the capital city, Dhaka, which was quite an icon of international modernism. Except that there was no precedent in our country. So we had to really study international precedents and take some inspiration from wherever we could really find kind of inspiration. And another aspect in our since this was an infrastructure project, the budget was important, and it was very modest as such, so budget-wise. So that also came as a constraint to us. It was a limitation that we needed to explore the possibilities out of that limitations. So what we thought about first, we could not, although the budget was modest, but we could not think anything short of an iconic stature. So our first thing was that we would create a space which will inspire, because it would be the second precedence after Robert Bui's 60s station in the capital city. So we thought that it would be a space which would inspire our future architects, the next generation of architects, for pride and give them the signal that what we are capable of, even with a modest budget. That was the context. If you take it out of context, so Cox's Bazar, to give you a bit of perspective, Cox's Bazar has the longest unbroken natural sea beach in the world, and it is mostly unexplored, unventured area still. There are organic developments, sporadic developments, but there is no such. For the beach itself, with millions of visitors every year, and it is also a national destination, but there is no planned developments as such. So. And Railway, when approached us, invited us for designing this station, they also came up with some idea that why don't we imitate something that is found in Cox's Bazar, like marine life, clamshells and marine aquatic lives. So, and then I had to be very, very polite and diplomatic to convince them that such a mimicry would reduce our architecture just to a sculpture. So and then I also convinced them by telling them that there are a lot of memories that carries through Cox's Bazar's natural beauty, the marine life souvenirs. So many things, that the sense of place of Cox's Bazar. So what I did, I tried to create a metaphor of marine life, which also symbolizes with the horizon. A big canopy, which also goes with the horizon, which is also the site, a very, very rural site. So I tried to convince them that we should do something which symbolizes memory, place, and kind of identity. Because, for a railway structure to really relate to identity per se is very challenging, and it would be also imposing. So what we did, we We questioned the conventional wisdom that the identity, how to deal with that. Whatever, we rooted in modernist principles and values, and we proposed a soaring tubular steel exoskeletal structure, which symbolizes an organic life. And then the client actually got convinced, and that's what you see. Probably the model is now at the site, at the venue, so you can.
Foyez, we will talk a little bit more about the design process in the next question. So I want to open this. I want to start that question about the design process. If you could, Yuval, go over. What were the beginning steps? How did you start approaching this idea of your design? Maybe there were different options. How did you pick the one that you finally selected? If you could go over some specific ideas for your project.
It was pretty apparent to me at the beginning. I'm out of context. I can't. Sometimes you can build a building, you can relate to nature, you can relate to some events that are happening, but it was impossible. The lot had the strange lines, which was the only context I had as a series of service roads, and in the background, the 19th century urbanism, and they could not be. They were just completely conflicting. So I tried to do something. It was a survival thing, how to survive at that site. And I could not do anything monumental. I could not do anything that had an orthogonal kind of geometry. So I basically tried to blend into this thing and almost not to exist. But at the same time, to create a dialogue with the environment, and it's almost like flow. That idea flow, that it was like a amorphous shape, translucent, reflective, sometimes translucent, and it's reflecting the environment on it, and it becomes part of the environment, and it changes with the environment. Every movement around is changing what you see. And I think that was very highly intuitive, but it was a survival. I was in survival mode. You cannot come with a strong idea and put it in a strong formal idea and put it in the site. That's so. And I have to tell you, it's an existential, I think, issue in our times right now. It's really, so many people are doing different things. The context is getting weaker and weaker. The general story is becoming more confused, and it's a survival.
But at the same time, you had very specific inspirations. For example, you talked
how
about
do I survive?
So there were references that
of course, I have references.
Followed.
I have references. I told you in the past. I mean, I have these big heroes, Mies, of course, and for me, I always mention it. I saw I think it was 2009, I saw the SILAA Pavilion in London in the Serpentine Gallery, and it really changed my mind. I felt it's an evolution of architecture. It's really another stage. And I often say, for me, it was just as strong for the previous generation, the Mies Pavilion in Barcelona, that suddenly opened the world for a new way of expression. So that event for me opened a new way of expression, and it's basically formless, ephemeral, dematerialized architecture, which was the appropriate way for me to survive in contemporary reality.
And now, Dawn, if you could talk about your project, what was the design process like? I understand that for you, you work directly with material that is available. You work a lot with reclaimed wood, very much hands-on. So if you can talk about the process, the design, and which is almost integral to the building itself, building process.
So in my case, in this specific projects, we have a tourist city. So we think about the way how to welcome the guests, the tourists come to the space. So we think about something local. We study about the cultures and lifestyle of the city, the history or something. We enhancing the relationship between the the people, because when they choose the homestay, so we need something cozy but something privacy. And so we have many, we think about many kind of the space in the projects, like a common space, the bedroom and the space between the bedroom, the space between the new building and the existing building, and the space in between, so we can have the like a common areas. And you know that if we tried with the common or popular materials with the modernist style, I think it's very normal for the tourists, because maybe their home is better or their places is better than us. So what they looking for when they come to the city is something different, something local. So I think about the wood, because the wood is, I think it's cozy and it's suitable for this kind of the spaces, like staying. But the new one is very, costly. So we try to think about another way, and fortunately, we found that there's many old buildings in the city or in our region, like school or like offices demolished, and then we can take the structure and the door and window system, and then we collect it. You know that they have existing section of the elements, so we can use it very easy to build the new ones, the new projects. It's very easy way.
And you even said that the one advantage of using the reclaimed wood, not only that it brings authentic character, but you can also get it at half price, right?
Yeah, half prices.
That's fantastic. And so, Foyez, if you could talk about your design process, because as you mentioned before, your client already had a preconceived idea that the whole building should look like a clamshell. So how did you respond to that, and how did you try to abstract that idea?
Yeah, as I was saying that your theme of the exhibition is out of the context. This is also a kind of a context when your client comes up with some preset ideas, and that they want to impose on the architect to just to reflect their ideas, and that is a very challenging constraint and limitations that we architects always challenge ourselves. How to really do the project, and also simultaneously convincing them, and also come out with success, some kind of architectural success. So your idea of out of the context is also, it makes us reflect on how we architects respond to our own challenges, own bureaucratic challenges, sometimes administrative challenges, and we also reciprocating, we challenge them and to find the obvious. So the Cox's Bazar, as you know, that it's our national destination. It's the longest natural sea beach. People has memory. So a place with beauty. So there has to be something with sensitivity and restraint. And as we always believed in and rooted in modernistic values, as I told you, that we thought that the landscape, the nature of that particular area should not compete with the structure. So the roof that we came up with, which symbolizes marine life to our client and to convince them, which is also we conceived as a gesture towards the horizon, as I was trying to tell you. So this is something modern in expression, of course, in a rural context, but it's deeply rooted in our local spirit as well. And it definitely responds to our subtropic or tropical climate, because it gives shades, it shelters the main functions, the big canopy I'm trying to relate to, and also it helps the whole station opens up to air and light, so that the feel is nature, that we are in the nature. So this project was for us that to find the actual balance, the balance between modernity and context, between the huge structure and the landscape, between contemporary language or global expression of architecture with our local realities. So all these, there was the conversation that when I was student, it was very much potent conversation that went on in our school about contextual modernism and all this. So I see that through this project, it truly lives the contextual modernism or critical regionalism, whatever you want to define it. So we tried to find the balance and negotiation between those requirements and the balancing act. So this is how I see this project, and I don't know whether I could explain it, but I'm sure that you can appreciate the project by seeing the models and drawings, and yeah.
Absolutely. So let me, because we are coming to the closing of our conversation, so let me just ask one last question, and if you could respond very briefly. If I just going outside of this particular project that we are discussing here, what would you say is the main message of your architecture? What are you trying to achieve with your work? And how do you think this particular project is representative of that message as well? Yuval.
I think we're now in a stage, culturally in a stage that we need to a stage of evolution. We feel that everything is falling apart, but that's actually, there's a positive aspect. We need to expand our references, expand beyond the the Platonic grid. The heritage, the classical heritage it's deep in our foundation, but we need to find a way to expand the conversation, have architecture encompass more and more, and let it breathe. We need to find a way to expand, and that's, for me, this is where I'm preoccupied, a lot. And this project, of course, is one of the projects that expresses that.
So probably bringing new technologies to the design process and execution, right?
I'm not sure the issue is so much technology, actually, because technology is not very difficult. I really think so. I mean, we know how to isolate things, use energy, things like. I think that's the easy part. It's to think about the architecture as something that can express itself not as form, but as interactive, to merge, to flow. It's important, much more important than trying to really come with formal definitions, and that's the expansion. I'm much less worried about the technology. I think we can do a lot.
Technology will catch up. And what about Dawn? So how do you see this project as is it really exemplary of your work, and what is the main message of your architecture?
I try to make the people happy through architectures. So I try to. I think one way is trying to make something connection between the people and the people with the natures. Also, I try to use something that is the most simple and not complicated to engage the connection.
Thank you. And Foyez, so now we are closing this session, and if you could talk about how you want to address, what is the main message of your architecture? How does this project fit in? I understand this project is quite unusual in your line of work, right? It's first of all, it's outside of Dhaka. It's not in Dhaka. Most of your projects are there. It's very different in function. How would you say is this project reflect on your overall, overall message of your work, and what is the message of your overall architecture?
Thank you. Truly, when we completed this project, I mean, it's like you, every other, architects or critic or whoever, they challenged us with their conventional or just to act as a devil. They challenge us with the conventional idea of identity in architecture. So as you just said, that it is a bit different from the work we have been doing in Dhaka. So it is out of Dhaka and far from Dhaka. So this project actually questions our conventional ideas about identity in architecture. I told you, Vladimir, that should we always draw references from vernacular architecture or regional, traditional styles or heritages to claim our authenticity? And I never subscribed that idea. I never believed that just copying or mimicking or just bringing some traditional things into architecture brings it regional or identity in architecture. So I always, resonate with Louis Khan's vision for our parliament building. It reflected the aspiration of our people, not our economic limits. So I always believe that architecture, whatever constraint is, whatever limitations are, the possibilities should be explored from the context and should be imagined to evoke the culture, the collective spirit, and modernism has answered to that. And it is always, modernism rooted in everyone's soil, and memory of local. So driven by purpose, all these can shape, a good architecture. And my studio, particularly WALUMEZERO, has nudged this discourse about identity in architecture, and especially when this project came to question. So in this way, I believe that we could contribute to more grounded and progressive design culture, and I'm sure our young minds are also taking inspiration from that.
Thank you, Foyez. Well, thank you everyone for participating in this first session. I'm glad that we, agree to disagree, right? I actually wanted to pair your projects. For example, Foyez and Duon, you come from very similar, very close part of the world, but your approaches are very different. Your projects are very different. Duon went to college, received very much modernist education, and when he started his practice, he was not satisfied with what he learned, and he wanted to go back to school to work for another architect and learn, how to relate to the site and relate to the culture. In your case, it's kind of the opposite. You know how to relate to the culture. Doesn't mean that you have to show it in your architecture. So your approach is very modernist and very much about whatever technology is available. You don't worry about being regional. You want to be modernist and in a way express the latest modern technology. And Yuval, you kind of found your own way to express, to attack this problem in another country, in Finland. But you did it also according to your beliefs and your, references that you find important. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.